it's Lady Kaylah here, and welcome to the Geekdom. I am so sorry that this review is late. It's just been my spring break, so it's been kind of crazy. Anyways, here's my review for Game of Thrones. Basically, I thought this episode was so fantastic, and it was just really great. It was really awesome. You know, we start to get progression, we got to see a little bit of character development, and it's just really awesome. So I'll just start with north of the wall because they seem to just be giving us little updates about what's going on back there. And so we see Jon Snow, and I think to point out that, you know, Jon Snow is not just being watched by, you know, a group of guards or anything. He's really close to Mance Rayder, and they are talking, and you can't really say they're getting along, but the wildlings are kind of like a harsh people, so when Mance kind of threatens him and says, you know, if you think about betraying us, I'll kill you, I don't think that's just like a threat just to keep Jon Snow in his place. That's just how the wildlings kind of are, and they just won't hesitate to kill each other for survival, basically. And so we also find out that, you know, the wildlings were their own clans, they were their own little people, and they had their own little tribes, and the only thing that brought them all together was this fear of the others. So they're all united in fear, and they're just trying to get down south and away from the others. So we kind of figure out what's going on there, and then we also see this thing called a warg, and it's basically someone who can like skin change, like they can go into another creature's skin and like see things from the animal's perspective, and so that's pretty awesome. And then we're left with the fact that since he was using like a hawk or an eagle or something, he saw that there were dead members of the Night's Watch on the Fist of First Men. So we see Jon Snow kind of handle that situation or that new bit of news pretty well. So he doesn't kind of give away that he's still, attached to the Night's Watch. So after that we get Sam, and, you know, because Sam pretty much endangered the whole group, he's feeling really sorry for himself, and also we find out he's really sad because when the others came, his friends left him behind, and, you know, they kind of like, they do it in like a terrible way, but they just try to explain it as like, look, you know, we were just trying to survive, and they're still his friends. When he like decides to just give up on life, they turn around and go back for him, and then we see this kind of community that Mormont kind of reinstills by stating that, you know, the Night's Watch, they're brothers, and, you know, you're supposed to take care of one another. So he like puts the asshole guy who's really taunting Sam, he puts him in charge of Sam to make sure that he makes it. So I thought that was really interesting to kind of reinforce this idea of brotherhood with the Night's Watch. Next, I want to talk about Bran, and so with Bran, we're getting his dreams back, and we figure out that he has two different kinds of mystical powers. You know, he can have his wolf dreams, and then he's having these other dreams with the Raven. So the wolf dreams, we find out, is the warging, like we saw earlier with Jon Snow, and so he's not, the dreams with the Raven are not the wolf dreams, that's him warging. And the Raven, since it has like a third eye, was kind of like a clue that he would have some kind of third sight, which is, you know, seeing into the future, the past, and even the present. And so in his dream, he meets this boy, and, you know, the boy is kind of tutoring him through the dream by saying, you know, the Raven is you, and that's why he can't kill it. It's because he is the Raven with the third eye. He can see the past, present, and future. And then, you know, the thing about Osha when Bran wakes up is, like, she seems to be perfectly fine with the wolf dreams. You know, obviously, when we go back and look at Jon Snow's point of view. Ygritte's like, you've never seen a warg before? So I'm pretty sure the warging is perfectly normal with the wildlings, but I don't know, for some reason the Raven dreams are not normal, and I don't think this was in the books, the Raven dreams are bad or evil or whatever. So we'll see what's going on there and why one's okay and the other's not okay. But later we finally get introduced to the Reeds, and the boy who was in Bran's dream was Jojen Reed, and then we meet his sister Mira, and it's just so awesome. So Jojen's kind of like the mystical one who will be, from what we see, telling Bran what his abilities are and how to kind of hone those abilities. And Mira is kind of the protector type, the more physical type. She looks to be like a hunter, and more so than like an actual physical fighter. She seems to be more like a hunter type. But she's more physical, and I was getting kind of scared because I heard that they were just going to cast Jojen without Mira, and I'm kind of glad they casted both of the Reeds. And we get a little bit about Howland Reed, and I don't know if they're just going to keep reinforcing this, because Howland Reed was one of my favorite not visible characters, like, you know, those characters that are only spoken about but you never hear or actually see them. In the books, he was one of those that I just absolutely adored hearing about him, kind of like Lyanna and Rhaegar. We never actually see these people, but they're talked about, and they seem pretty awesome. So Howland Reed is kind of like that, but I'm not sure if the show's going to reinforce that, which is completely fine. And we kind of leave off with the Bran point of view, with Jojen saying something along the lines like, I see the only thing that matters, which is you. And so we are given this kind of like cliffhanger thing that Bran is really, really important, and his abilities are going to be key in the future. So that's awesome. Next, I'm just going to call these the Catelyn and Robb scenes. And we get a little bit of Talisa and Robb chemistry, which I'm so glad for, but that chemistry would have been really, really important in the beginning of the relationship rather than now, because now they're already together. The purpose of them being married, which was to have Robb betray his vow, is already over and done with. So I don't really care to see chemistry from them right now. But he gets really bad news, and he tells Catelyn, and it's her father has passed. So that's already really, really sad news. And then you have the Winterfell was taken, and Bran and Rickon are nowhere to be found. So I actually cried in this scene because, first you hear that your father passes, and then you hear that your two boys are missing, and oh my god, I was just so heartbroken. I was just waiting for her to break down, and I cried even harder because she actually did the opposite of breakdown. She actually took charge, and she's like, has Theon contacted you? Is there anything we can do? And, she really took charge, and you could see the pain in her face, yet she was not going to let it break her down. So, I really like that. It would have been better if this happened before she let Jaime go, which is how it happened in the books, because you understand why she lets Jaime go, because she's so distraught that she lost her children, and, so far she only has Robb left, and I don't know if she thinks Arya is around. So she has the two girls and Robb left, and her other two boys are gone. And so when she lets Jaime go, she does it out of grief. And so it would have made more sense, but whatever. So they all head off to the funeral for Catelyn's father. And, Karstark's talking to Robb, like, hey, this is a distraction, but Robb's kind of like, we could pick up some men there, so it's not exactly a complete distraction, because it'll still work for the war effort. And, he asks if Karstark has lost faith in the cause, and Karstark's like, I haven't, I'm going to be by your side through the end. However, I don't think this distraction is going to cost us the war. I think you've already cost us the war by marrying Talisa. And I was like, damn, you just straight up told him. That's why I just love the Northerners, because, you know, they really do just speak their mind. And we learned this from Ned a lot. Like, Ned would always hang out with his men and get their advice and get their perspective. And it's not like in the South where you have to, like, kiss your lord's ass. In the North, it's kind of like, hey, look, this is what I really think. And so the reason why, you know, Karstark thinks he's screwed is not because Frey is exactly this threatening man, but, you know, he has a key hold on the map of Westeros, and you can't cross without having the Freys by your side. So he's this very geological, important figure, and you just screwed that up. And, you know, now you lost your backing from the Freys, and, you know, Frey could always, you know, turn his back and, like, join some other part of the, not the rebellion, the War of the Five Kings, or whatever it's called, however many kings there are now. And so, you know, that's why he thinks they lost the war, because he lost a really, really crucial, backing. So, that sucks. And then we have this Catelyn and Talisa moment, which I thought was really awesome, because, you know, Catelyn's pissed that Robb broke his vow, but she's still trying to be a mother and accept her son's choice as of wife. So she is talking, and it makes sense that they start talking about children. And then we get this weird thing about Jon Snow, which I think was just strange, because you really don't need any explanation for why Catelyn treats Jon the way she does. He's not her son. You know, Ned brought home some other woman's son into her home. Yeah, I'd be pretty resentful too. Usually the lords just, you know, send money to the bastard's mom and leave them over there. You know, Ned brought this man, or this boy, into her house and, you know, treated him like a little lordling, trained him like a little lordling, taught him like a little lordling. That's very threatening to her children's claims. And not only that, you have someone else's son in your house. So they try to give this big old explanation as to why Catelyn didn't accept Jon Snow, and they try to make it seem like she's really sad that she wasn't able to accept Jon Snow. No, her not being able to accept Jon Snow is part of her character, and whether you think it's messed up or not, it's just part of her character. You don't need explanation for that. Maybe it is messed up, maybe it is reasonable why she doesn't like him. Either or, it's just the way she is, and you don't need any explanation for that. And while I understand her talking about Talisa about, like, children and stuff, and, you know, her own children, her own family, I don't understand this whole, like, oh, my entire house is cursed because I can accept Jon Snow. Like, what is that? I really didn't understand. The rest of it was just fine, and I thought it was awesome. The Jon Snow thing was a little bit off to me, but easy to ignore. I still thought it was a great scene. Next we see Theon. He's being tortured. He's being asked about Winterfell. I don't know if they tell us who is torturing him, so I won't say who it is from the book perspective, but I can't remember if the show says who has captured him or not. But towards the end of his torture, he's told that Asha that's her name in the book. Yara has sent for him, sent him to, what the hell am I going with this? Sorry. At the end of the torture, some guy goes up to Theon and is like, okay, Yara sent me to, you know, help save you or whatever. So we don't know what's going to go on with that, if Theon's going to get saved, or if he's going to die before he gets saved, or what's going on there. So next we get our Brienne and Jaime adventures, and I don't really want to get too much into this. It's very revealing about the characters. We see that Brienne's kind of like a simple but loyal type, and that she had like a little crush on Renly, which is adorable. And, you know, so you can see that she is capable of love, but her character type is not to like pursue that affection like at all, and even if she did like Renly or whatever, it's not like he would have liked her back. But anyways, we see, Jaime's still your typical cocky, trash-talking bastard, and so they fight, and of course Brienne kicks his butt. He's kind of sickly and chained up, but I think this is really interesting because he's all like, if we stay on the bridge too long, we're gonna get caught. And so he starts the fight on the bridge, and then they get caught, and I'm just like, really? Like, Jaime, you knew not to stay on the bridge because you might get caught, yet you start a fight on the bridge, and you end up getting caught by the last people you want to get caught by. So, anyways, the Boltons come, and now we're left off there and see what's gonna happen. Next we get this like Joffrey Cersei scene, and it's just more of this idea that Cersei is losing her hold on Joffrey, and Cersei's not entirely like pointless. I mean, she does bring up a really good point, like, there's a reason Marjorie's here, and she's trying to hint that Marjorie is really playing you, and he just doesn't get it. He doesn't listen to his mom, but she's just losing her hold on Joffrey. I'm really interested in seeing how they're going to include Cersei's character more, because she does a lot more in the books than just constantly berate her son. So, we'll see. Next we get Sansa, and I never really understood Sansa and Shay's relationship, but it seems like, Shay just really loves Sansa, and she's really protective of the things she loves. You can see it when she loves Tyrion, and now we can see that she loves Sansa. And so she's trying to, tell Sansa the ways of life. We can still see Sansa's a little bit naive, yet she's more accepting to the truth. But she's still very young, and I like that. I like how, we can see Sansa progressing and growing, yet still being the youthful, young, naive girl that she is. So, later on, she gets picked up by, so Shay's, like, trying to hint at Littlefinger, and I really like how she says, what will you do if Littlefinger's doing such and such, and she's like, I'll just make him stop. Like, I just really, like, it was simple but threatening. I just loved it. But Sansa's not telling her anything. But anyways, then Sansa gets picked up by Loras, who takes her to Marjorie and the Queen of Thorns, who was just absolutely perfect. It's amazing. Like, her nickname, the Queen of Thorns, she just did it so perfectly. So we see that the Queen of Thorns is really upfront. She's there to protect Marjorie. As a woman, she has no control over who Marjorie gets to marry. Like she says, the Lord Oath of Highgarden is determined to see Marjorie queen. She is there to protect Marjorie from her womanly perspective, and so she's questioning, she's kind of like interrogating Sansa, because she wants to know what Marjorie's getting into. It seems that the Lord is not interested in Marjorie's protection as long as she's queen. However, the Queen of Thorns is like, oh hell no, like, I'm gonna see what's up and what my Marjorie's getting into. So they question Sansa, and this is really revealing of Sansa's character, who is struggling. She's a victim of abuse, and so does she trust these people? And when she says, my father was always honest, you see a real moment of growth and struggle, because her father was honorable and truthful, and she loves those qualities, and yet her father's dead. So she's like, do I be honorable and truthful and end up dead, or do I just recite these words that I was taught and keep everything inside? So it was really awesome seeing her really struggle between trusting these people who she really wants to trust. She missed those qualities. She's missed being honest. She missed being open and protecting herself. You know, she has no leverage whatsoever. She can die at any moment at Joffrey's command. I mean, it wouldn't be the best political move for Joffrey, which is probably why Joffrey hasn't done it, but he has nothing to lose if he does. And so I get pissed off when people compare Sansa to Marjorie. Marjorie has all of Highgarden behind her. If anything happens to Marjorie, Highgarden can just pull away and back up some other king. And they have, you know, resources, they have food, they have men, men as in military, and so if Joffrey does anything to Marjorie, he loses a lot. However, Sansa, she has nothing. She's the daughter of Ned Stark. She's the sister of Robb, who is the enemy. And so Joffrey would have nothing to lose by killing Sansa, which is why she feels like she can't do anything. Plus, she's also the typical victim of abuse. And it bugs me when people say, why don't the abuse victims just go? First of all, Sansa can't go anywhere, and like many other abusive victims, and she just learned to accept the role of being passive, because that's the role that's going to allow her to survive. However, Marjorie has an entire house, and actually more than an entire house. She has houses behind her, and to protect her. And they're just asking because when Marjorie finally gets married off, and if the war ever ends, Highgarden's going to go back to where it belongs, and she's going to be left alone with a sadistic guy. So that's why the Queen of Thorns is asking so many questions, and they're going to use that information to protect Marjorie. However, Sansa obviously doesn't know this, so Sansa tells a little bit and then goes back to protecting herself, and then she tells a little bit, she goes back to protecting herself. So that was really interesting, and so she decides to trust, and we see Marjorie using that new information, using this information that Joffrey is really a monster, and uses this to talk to Joffrey in a way that's appealing to him, because she knows that he's violent and a little bit messed up in the head. So we'll see what happens there. Later we get Arya, and we finally meet the Brotherhood without banners, which is awesome. And we see that they are kind of just their own group. Like, they're not backing up any king. They seem to be like the people's people. And so they're more interested in protecting the people and not destroying Westeros through war and so on and so forth. And then the leader is Thoros, which is this really, I'm not sure if they mentioned him in season 1, but he's this really great swordsman, and he fights with like a flaming sword. I don't know if they say that in the show, but he's just really awesome swordsman, and he seems to be the leader, at least the leader of this little small band that we get. And I'm pretty sure he's not the leader because he's not in the books, but we'll see what happens. And then anyways, it's really awesome, because later on, after they got some information from Arya and Gendry and Hot Pie, they're just like, okay, you can go. So you can see they keep their word. They're really honorable. They're really cool people. And then they find the Hound, and basically, according to them, they just got him really drunk, and that's why they were able to capture him. And when they uncover the Hound's head, he recognizes Arya. And so we're kind of just left there like, oh no, what's going to happen to Arya now that everybody knows who she is? And then we got a Tyrion scene where it was basically Shay asking about protecting Sansa, but it was mostly just there to show you guys more of a cutesy moment between Tyrion and Shay, because honestly we don't find out anything that can be done to help Sansa. All Tyrion says is, oh, she'll be married off to some lord and she'll be fine. And so we'll see what happens there with Sansa and all that. Other than that, I just really love this episode. Like what I said, we got a lot of progress. Even though some of these scenes happened really quickly, they were well paced, so you didn't feel like it was rushed over or glazed over, and just, you didn't feel like it was rushed, even though some of them were kind of shorter. So I really liked it. I felt like it was a really solid episode. We got a lot of characters, and we got a lot of development, and we got a lot of updates to know where everyone's at. So it's really awesome. Can't wait to see the next episode. I'm so sorry that this is late, but thank you for your time. Bye.